Okay. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2025 annual meeting of the Colorado Consortium for Prescription Drug Abuse Prevention, our statewide opioid task force. It's great to see so many of you. I was joking with several of you in the hallway. It's like I get to see you once a year at one of these meetings, like a reunion every year, but it's great. And it really is kind of part of the purpose of it, right, is to come together at least once a year and be able to renew some of our collaborations and connections and keep this important work going. So who'd have thought 13 years ago in the room in the School of Pharmacy at the first one of these, certainly not me, if you'd asked me, how long do you think you'll be doing these? 13, I did not think 13 would be the number and going strong. So really appreciate it. And it really is an example of what we'll talk about today, our theme, which we will get to. Let me see if I can make this work. There we go. Okay, so just very brief overview. Comments won't take but a minute. You have agendas on your tables. We'll start with this. I'm not going to read through all of the agenda for you, but we have them on the tables. I should have had them as well before we go. But a really good mix of presentations, some data on emerging trends, panel discussions, and some conversations that we want to be able to have with you to hear about what's going on in your world and what we can do better as well. Really, our theme today is about our model, collective action, and trying to have collective impact. And what we are, in our essence, and have been since the beginning that we started, is the backbone organization coordinating our state's opioid response. And we broaden that a little bit. It's not just necessarily opioids, but things that are related. It may be stimulants, it may be other substances, because for us, we see an awful lot of co-occurrence with benzodiazepines and stimulants and those kinds of things. People ask all the time, how do we define our swim lane? Like how far what about cannabis and what about psychedelics and psilocybin and what about alcohol? And aren't those important and arguably, well, not even arguably, more important? Absolutely they are. But we really focus on these things that have some nexus to prescribed drugs in some way. That's kind of how we define it. So the controlled substances, the opioids, benzos, stimulants, fentanyl, and fentanyl in proper use in the right settings is a safe and effective medication in certain ways. You want to have it available if you're going to have surgery or you have extreme acute pain and you're in the emergency room or the surgical suite, you want your anesthesiologist to have that available. I can tell you that. So that's how we define what we are. And our mission really is to reduce prescription drug misuse and overdose deaths through policies, programs, and partnerships. That's the strategies we use to try to achieve that. And these partnerships is, why you are here and why we are here. And we follow a model called the collective impact model, and have from the beginning of our work back when we were at the end of strategic planning in 2011, 2012, and thought, how do we want to organize to kind of do this? Because then Governor Hickenlooper and then AG Suthers said we want to keep this going. We don't want to just have strategic planning and then walk away and say we had a report, drop it on somebody's desk, and then everybody walks away. We want to keep this going. How can we do that? And it wasn't me. It was Kelly Perez and Jose Escobar that had the idea to say, well, how can we do this? And collective impact was kind of model we chose to model ourselves after and use this approach. It's not really strict adherence to every single thing in the collective impact framework, but it is using this as the way we want to work together. And it has been very successful, really. It's to engage people. It's to help people form collaboratives and communicate and work together in effective ways, adapt to the changing needs of this crisis as we see it change over the years. And it really has in the last 13 years. Looks very different than it did then. So how do we do that? And it's, as we know, it's very difficult to do that and to continue to do it in times of extreme change. And this is the last, short amount of time this last year or so has been a time of extreme change. It's politically, economically, all kinds of things where the ground is not just shifting a little bit underneath us. It's much more seismic than that, right? This is like tectonic plates hitting. And how do you figure out what to do? And we've had budget issues, the states do. At the federal level, the state level, the local level, everybody's got budget issues. We've had to address that. We'll talk about that at the end of the day. But through it all, we're saying, look, no matter what it is, our mission is still there. What we're doing is still critically important. And we must figure out, even in those difficult times, how to keep doing what we're doing, and in fact, do it better and do more with less. And it sounds trite, but it's true. We have to do that. And in order to do that, we have to lean into, and at least it's my belief and it's ours at the consortium, lean into collaboration even more. When you think it's like, oh no, it's time to circle wagons and fight for the small crumbs that I get and not collaborate, I really believe the answers are the opposite. Collaborate even more, get together even more, figure out together, how are we going to solve these problems? And I still think we're stronger together than going alone. So wanted to frame this as today. That's our theme, is how do we do this? How do we not only survive, but grow and thrive in what we do, expanding access to treatment, doing better with prevention, early intervention, harm reduction, treatment and recovery, all the way through the continuum. How do we do better even in these times of challenge? So we have the really good fortune. I reached out to this person, and thank goodness, because as people know, I do things on last minute basis with short notice on virtually everything I do. It's like, oh, sure, well, we can figure that out. And it's the deadline is tomorrow or next week.